Captain Jake Morrison stood in front of the large screen in his ship's main room. The message had come in just an hour ago, and he still could not believe what he was reading. His fingers moved across the control panel as he read the strange words for the 5th time. The ship New Horizon had been traveling through space for 3 months now. They were carrying 5,000 humans to a new planet where they would build their new home. Jake had been captain of colony ships for 15 years, but he had never seen anything like this message. "Captain, you asked me to come here." Lisa, Carter walked into the room. She was the ship's best person for talking to aliens. Her job was to make sure humans could work with other species they met in space. Jake pointed at the screen. "Look at this, Lisa. Tell me what you think." Lisa moved closer to read the message. Her eyes grew wide as she read the strange symbols that had been changed into human words by the ship's computer. "This is from the Zephyrian Empire," she said slowly. "I can't believe they sent us a message. They never talked to anyone." The message was short, but very strange. It said the Zephyrians needed human help with something very important. They wanted humans to come to their home planet. They said they would give humans new technology that could make human life much better. "What do you know about these Zephyrians?" Jake asked. Lisa sat down in a chair next to him. "Not much. Nobody knows much about them. They are very big and very strong. They have sharp claws and skin like metal. Most aliens are afraid of them. They took over many planets, but they don't usually talk to other species." Jake rubbed his chin. "So why are they talking to us now?" "I don't know," Lisa said, "but this could be very good for humans. If they want to give us their technology, we could learn things that would take us hundreds of years to figure out on our own." The door opened again, and Dr. Alex Hamilton walked in. He was the ship's expert on alien life. He had studied every alien species that humans had ever met. "You wanted to see me, Captain?" Alex asked. "Yes. Look at this message. What do you think about the Zephyrians?" Alex read the message carefully. Then he sat down and was quiet for a long time. "This is very strange," he finally said. "The Zephyrians are the top hunters in the galaxy. They are perfect killing machines. They don't need help from anyone, especially not from humans." "That's what makes this so strange," Lisa said. "Why would they ask us for help?" Alex looked worried. "I've been studying reports about the Zephyrians for years. There are some strange things about them that don't make sense. Their population has been getting smaller for a long time. Nobody knows why." Jake stood up and walked around the room. "So, you think they might really need our help?" "Maybe," Alex said. "But we have to be very careful. These are not friendly aliens who want to be our friends. These are dangerous hunters who could kill us all without thinking about it." The ship's alarm made a soft sound. Ben Torres walked into the room. He was in charge of keeping everyone on the ship safe. Ben was a big man who had been a soldier before he came to space. He did not trust aliens very much. "Captain, I heard about this message," Ben said. "I think this is a trap. The Zephyrians want to get humans to their planet so they can capture us or kill us." "That's possible," Jake said. "But what if it's real? What if they really need our help?" Ben shook his head. "Captain, these aliens are killers. They don't help anyone and they don't ask for help. This has to be a trap." Katie Brooks came into the room next. She was the ship's best engineer and knew more about technology than anyone else on the ship. She had been listening to their conversation from outside the door. "I heard what you're talking about," Katie said. "If the Zephyrians really want to share their technology with us, this could change everything for humans. Their ships are faster than ours. Their weapons are stronger. Their computers are smarter. We could learn so much from them. Or we could all die," Ben said. Jake looked at all of them. These were his best people, and they could not agree on what to do. He knew that whatever he decided would affect not just their ship but maybe all humans everywhere. "Alex," Jake said, "what exactly do we know about how the Zephyrians live?" Alex opened his computer and showed them pictures and information. "They live on planets with very hot weather. They hunt in groups. They are very smart, but they think differently than humans do. They don't seem to care about art or music or stories like humans do. They only care about hunting and fighting. What about their families? Lisa asked. That's one of the strange things, Alex said. We know almost nothing about Zephyrian families. They never talk about their children. Some people think they don't have families like humans do. Jake studied the message again. There was something about the way it was written that seemed important. The words were formal, but there was something else. Something that seemed almost desperate. Lisa, does this message sound like other Zephyrian communications we've heard about? Lisa read it again. No, it doesn't. Usually when Zephyrians talk to other species, they give orders. They tell people what to do. This message is different. It's asking for help, not demanding it. That's what I thought too, Jake said. Something big must be happening for them to ask for help. Ben crossed his arms. Or it's a very good trick to make us think they need help. Katie looked at the star map on the wall. Their home planet is only 2 weeks away from here. We could go there and still have enough fuel to continue to our new colony if we need to leave quickly. What about the people on this ship? Ben asked. We have 5,000 humans who are counting on us to get them to their new home safely. Do we have the right to put them in danger for this? Jake knew Ben was right to worry. As captain, his first job was to keep the people on his ship safe. But he also knew that this might be the most important choice humans had ever had to make. If we go, Jake said, we won't take the whole ship. We'll take a small group in one of our smaller ships. The main ship will wait at a safe distance. Who would go? Lisa asked. Jake thought about it. You, because we need someone who can talk to aliens. Alex, because we need someone who understands alien biology. Katie, because we need someone who understands their technology. Ben, because we need security. And me, because I'm the captain. 5 people against an entire planet of killers. Ben said, I don't like those numbers. We won't go there to fight, Jake said. We'll go there to talk and to learn. If it's a trap, we'll leave quickly. Alex looked worried. Captain, if we do this, we need to be ready for anything. The Zephyrians might be very different from what we expect. Jake nodded. I know, but sometimes you have to take risks to make progress. Humans have always been willing to take risks to learn new things and help others. Lisa smiled. And if they really need our help, maybe we can show them that humans are good to have as friends. Katie was already working on her computer. I'll start getting our small ship ready. We should also prepare recording equipment to document everything we see and learn. Ben sighed. I still think this is dangerous, but if we're going to do it, we need to do it right. I'll prepare weapons and emergency equipment. Jake looked at his team. These were good people who trusted him to make the right choice. He hoped he was making the right choice for all humans. All right, he said. We're going to accept their invitation. Let's prepare to meet the Zephyrians and find out what they really want from us. As his team left to prepare for their mission, Jake looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the most dangerous aliens in the galaxy were waiting for humans to help them with something. He didn't know what they wanted, but he knew that this journey would change everything. 2 weeks later, the small human ship approached the Zephyrian home planet. Jake looked out the window at the world below them. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. The land was covered with cities that looked like they were made of crystal and metal. Tall buildings reached up into the sky like giant claws. Everything sparkled in the light of the planet's red sun. This is amazing, Katie said as she looked at her instruments. Their cities are huge. I'm reading millions of life forms down there. Alex was studying his scanner. The life signs are all very strong. These Zephyrians are definitely as powerful as the report said. Ben checked his weapons one more time. Just remember, we can leave quickly if we need to. Our ship is fast. Lisa was trying to communicate with the planet. I'm getting a signal from them. They want us to land at specific coordinates. They're sending a landing pattern to follow. Jake nodded. Follow their instructions. Let's show them we can be trusted. As their ship flew down through the atmosphere, they could see more of the Zephyrian world. The cities were connected by roads that looked like rivers of silver metal. Strange vehicles moved along these roads at incredible speeds. Everything was perfectly organized and clean. "Look at those structures," Katie said, pointing to enormous buildings that twisted up into the sky. "The engineering is incredible. How do they build things like that?" "Very carefully," Alex said, "and probably with strength we can't imagine." Their ship landed on a platform made of smooth black stone. As soon as they stepped outside, they felt the hot, dry air of the planet. The gravity was stronger than Earth's gravity, making them feel heavier. 3 Zephyrians were waiting for them. Jake had seen pictures before, but seeing them in person was completely different. They were enormous, at least 8 feet tall. Their skin looked like dark metal that moved smoothly over powerful muscles. Their hands ended in claws that looked sharp enough to cut through steel. Their eyes were large and yellow, and they seemed to see everything at once. The largest Zephyrian stepped forward. When it spoke, its voice was deep and sounded like rumbling thunder. "I am Commander Velthos. You are the humans who answered our message." Lisa stepped forward to speak for the group. "Yes, I am Lisa Carter. This is Captain Jake Morrison and our team. We came because you asked for our help." Commander Velthos looked at each human carefully. Jake felt like the alien was studying them the way a scientist might study insects under a microscope. "You are smaller than we expected," Commander Velthos said. "We are," Jake said. "But sometimes small can be useful." Commander Velthos made a sound that might have been laughter. "We will see. Follow us. The High Matriarch wants to meet you." They walked through the city streets. Everything was built for creatures much larger than humans. The buildings towered over them like mountains. Other Zephyrians stopped to stare at the humans as they passed. Some seemed curious, others seemed suspicious. Jake noticed that all the Zephyrians they saw were adults. He did not see any young ones anywhere. "Commander Velthos," Jake said, "where are the Zephyrian children?" Commander Velthos stopped walking. The other Zephyrians with him became very still. Jake realized he had asked about something important. "That is why you are here," Commander Velthos said quietly. "The High Matriarch will explain." They continued, walking until they reached the largest building in the city. It was shaped like a pyramid, but with sides that curved and twisted. The walls were made of some kind of crystal that changed colors as they walked past it. Inside the building, everything was even more impressive. The ceiling was so high that clouds seemed to form near the top. Strange lights floated in the air, without any visible support. The walls were covered with symbols that seemed to move and change. "This is incredible," Katie whispered. "Their technology is centuries ahead of ours." They were led to a huge room at the center of the building. In the middle of the room sat the largest Zephyrian they had seen yet. She was at least 9 feet tall, and her metallic skin had patterns of gold running through it. Her claws were longer than the others, and her eyes seemed to glow from within. "I am High Matriarch Veltar," she said. Her voice was even deeper than Commander Velthos's voice. "I lead all Zephyrians," Lisa bowed respectfully. "We are honored to meet you, High Matriarch. We came because you asked for our help." The High Matriarch studied them for a long time. Jake felt nervous under her intense gaze, but he tried not to show it. "You want to know why we asked for help?" the High Matriarch said. "This is difficult for us to explain. Zephyrians do not usually ask for help from anyone." "We understand," Jake said. "Whatever the problem is, we want to try to help if we can." The High Matriarch stood up. She was so tall that she seemed to fill the entire room. "Come with me. I will show you something that no outsider has ever seen." She led them through several corridors to a room with no windows. The walls were covered with pictures and symbols. In the center of the room was a large table with what looked like a 3-dimensional map floating above it. "This shows our population over the last 1,000 years, the High Matriarch said. Alex looked at the floating display. Even though the symbols were alien, he could understand what it was showing. "Your population is decreasing." "Yes," the High Matriarch said. "For the last 1,000 years, fewer and fewer Zephyrian children survived to become adults." "What's causing this?" Lisa asked. The High Matriarch was quiet for a long moment. Jake could see that this was very difficult for her to talk about. We are perfect hunters, she finally said. We are designed to hunt and kill. Our instincts are very strong. But these same instincts that make us powerful also create a terrible problem. She touched the floating display and it changed to show images of young Zephyrians. They looked like smaller versions of the adults, but their metallic skin was softer, and their claws were not yet fully developed. When our young reach a certain age, they go through a change we call the awakening. During this time, they produce chemical signals that trigger our hunting instincts. Alex's eyes widened as he understood. You mean adult Zephyrians want to hunt their own children? Yes, the High Matriarch said, and her voice sounded full of pain. During the awakening, we cannot control ourselves around our young. Our instincts are too strong, we become dangerous to them. Katie couldn't believe what she was hearing. So what do? We have to send them away, the High Matriarch said. We put them in places far from any adults until the awakening is finished. But many die during this time because they have no one to protect them or teach them. Ben looked confused. Can't you fight against these instincts? We have tried for centuries, the High Matriarch said. Nothing works. The chemical signals from our young during the awakening are too powerful. Even our strongest warriors cannot resist them. Jake was beginning to understand why they had called for humans. But you think humans might be different? The High Matriarch nodded. Our scientists have studied many species. Most aliens have the same problem we do, or worse. But humans are different. The chemical signals that drive us to hunt have no effect on humans at all. Alex was thinking quickly. That makes sense, humans evolved differently. We're not pure predators like you are. We have strong instincts to protect young creatures, not hunt them. Exactly, the High Matriarch said. Our scientists believe that humans could stay with our young during the awakening without any danger. You could protect them and teach them until they are safe. Lisa realized how important this was. You're asking us to help raise your children. We are asking you to save our entire species, the High Matriarch said. Without help, we will be extinct in 2 generations. The room became very quiet. The humans looked at each other, trying to understand what they had just learned. The most dangerous aliens in the galaxy were asking them to take care of their most precious possessions, their children. This is why you offered to share your technology with us, Jake said. Yes, the High Matriarch said. If you help us save our children, we will share everything we know with humans. Your species will advance by hundreds of years. Katie's mind was racing with possibilities. The technology trade would be incredible, but this is about more than technology. Ben was still worried. How do we know this isn't some kind of trick? The High Matriarch looked at him with her glowing eyes. Because I am about to show you something that proves how desperate we are. She led them to another room. This room had a large window that looked down into a courtyard below. In the courtyard, Jake could see several young Zephyrians. They were sitting alone, looking sad and scared. Those are children who are going through the awakening right now, the High Matriarch said. They have been alone for 3 months. No adult Zephyrian can go near them. Alex watched the young aliens in the courtyard. Even though they looked dangerous with their claws and metallic skin, they were clearly just scared children who missed their families. We would like to try, Jake said quietly, but we need to be sure it's safe for both our species and yours. The High Matriarch nodded. We will start slowly. 1 human with 1 young Zephyrian. If it works, we can do more. Lisa looked at her team. Are we really going to do this? Jake thought about the scared young Zephyrians in the courtyard below. He thought about what this could mean for both species. Yes, he said. We're going to try to help. The next morning, the High Matriarch led the humans to a building she called the Sanctuary. It was different from the other buildings they had seen. This one was lower and wider, with many windows and gardens around it. It looked more peaceful than the rest of the city. This is where we keep our young during the awakening, the High Matriarch explained as they walked through the entrance. No adult Zephyrian has been inside this building for over 50 years. Inside, the building was designed for smaller creatures. The hallways were not as tall and the rooms were not as big. Everything was built for young Zephyrians who had not yet grown to full size. They walked down a long hallway with many doors on both sides. Through the windows in the doors, they could see young Zephyrians in different rooms. Some were sitting, alone. Others were pacing back and forth like caged animals. All of them looked unhappy. "How many are here?" Lisa asked. 43 right now," the High Matriarch said. "They range in age from 12 to 16 years old in human terms. The awakening lasts about 6 months for each individual." Alex stopped at one window to look at a young Zephyrian inside. The creature was smaller than the adults, about 6 feet tall, with softer-looking metallic skin. But even as a juvenile, it had sharp claws and looked very strong. "This one looks sick," Alex said with concern. The High Matriarch looked through the window. "That is Kethra. She has been here for 4 months. She is not eating well. This happens to many of our young when they are alone for too long." Katie felt sad looking at the lonely creature. "She looks so scared." "They all are," the High Matriarch said. "They do not understand why their families sent them away. They think they did something wrong." Ben was still worried about safety. "What happens if one of these young ones attacks a human?" "That is possible," the High Matriarch admitted. "They are still dangerous, especially when they are afraid. But our scientists believe they will not see humans as threats. Humans do not trigger their defensive instincts the way other species do." They continued walking until they reached a large room at the end of the hallway. This room had many chairs and tables like a dining hall. Several young Zephyrians were sitting at different tables all alone. None of them were eating the food in front of them. "This is where they come for meals," the High Matriarch explained. "But as you can see, most are not eating well. They are becoming depressed without adult contact." Jake looked around the room. "How do you usually feed them?" "Machines bring food and leave it for them. Machines clean their rooms. Machines do everything because no adult can get close to them." Lisa could see the problem clearly. They need more than just food and clean rooms. They need someone to talk to them, someone to care about them. "Yes," the High Matriarch said. "But until now, that was impossible." Alex was studying the young Zephyrians carefully. "I notice they keep looking at us, but they're not showing signs of aggression. They seem curious." One young Zephyrian at a nearby table was indeed staring at the humans. It tilted its head to one side, like it was trying to figure out what they were. "Can we try talking to one of them?" Jake asked. The High Matriarch looked nervous. "Are you sure? We do not know what will happen." "We have to start somewhere," Jake said. "Which one would be safest to approach first?" The High Matriarch pointed to the young Zephyrian who had been staring at them. "That is Zektar. He is one of the calmer ones. He has been here for 2 months." Jake walked slowly toward Zektar's table. The young Zephyrian watched him approach, but did not move away. Jake stopped about 6 feet from the table. "Hello, Zektar," Jake said in a calm voice. Zektar's yellow eyes grew wider. He had probably not heard anyone speak his name in months. "You can understand me?" Jake asked. Zektar nodded slowly. His voice was higher than adult Zephyrian voices, but still deep compared to human voices. "Yes. We learn your language in school." "Are you lonely here?" Jake asked. Zektar looked around the empty dining hall. "Very lonely. I miss my family. I don't understand why they sent me away." Jake felt his heart break for this scared young creature. "They sent you away because they love you. They were trying to keep you safe." "Safe from what?" Zektar asked. Jake looked back at the High Matriarch, who nodded for him to continue. "Safe from their own instincts. Adult Zephyrians can't control themselves around young ones during the awakening. They might hurt you without meaning to." Zektar's eyes filled with tears. Jake was surprised that Zephyrians could cry. The tears looked like small drops of silver. "They don't want to hurt me?" Zektar asked. "No," Jake said gently. "They love you very much. But they can't help their instincts. That's why we're here. We want to help you and the other young ones." Other young Zephyrians in the room had started listening to the conversation. They moved closer but still kept their distance. Lisa joined Jake near the table. "We're humans. We're here to take care of you during the awakening." A young female, Zephyrian, spoke up. "You're not afraid of us?" "No," Lisa said. "Should we be?" The young female looked confused. "Everyone is afraid of us. We're predators," Katie smiled. "You're children. We're not afraid of children." Alex was watching all of this with fascination. The young Zephyrians were responding to the humans in a way that was completely different from how they acted around. Machines, they seemed to come alive when they had someone to talk to. "Are you hungry?" Jake asked Zektar, pointing to the untouched food on his table. "A little," Zektar admitted. "Why aren't you eating?" Zektar looked embarrassed. "Food tastes better when you eat with others. Eating alone makes me sad." Jake looked at the High Matriarch. "Would it be safe for us to eat with them?" The High Matriarch seemed amazed by what she was seeing. "I think so. They are responding to you in ways we never expected." Jake sat down at the table across from Zektar. The young Zephyrian looked surprised but pleased. "Would you like to eat together?" Zektar nodded eagerly and picked up his food. It looked like some kind of meat, but it was a color Jake had never seen before. The other humans sat at different tables with other young Zephyrians. Soon the dining hall was filled with the sound of conversation for the first time in months. Ben sat with a young Zephyrian named Theklar who seemed very shy. "How long have you been here?" Ben asked. 3 months, Theklar said quietly. "It feels like forever." "What do you miss most about home?" Theklar thought for a moment. "My mother used to tell me stories before sleep time. Now I have nightmares because I sleep alone." Ben felt sorry for the young creature. "What kind of stories did she tell?" "Stories about brave Zephyrian warriors who protected their families and their people." "Those sound like good stories," Ben said. "Maybe sometime you can tell me one." Theklar looked hopeful. "You would want to hear my stories?" "Of course," Ben said. "Everyone has good stories to tell." At another table, Katie was talking to a young female named Rayshaw about technology. Rayshaw was very interested in how human machines worked. "Your ship that brought you here," Rayshaw said. "How fast can it go?" "Pretty fast," Katie said. "But not as fast as Zephyrian ships, I bet." "I want to build ships someday," Rayshaw said, "but I don't know if I'll ever get the chance to learn." "Why not?" Katie asked. "Because I might not survive the awakening," Rayshaw said sadly. "Many don't." Katie felt angry that these children had to worry about survival. "Well, we're here now. We're going to make sure you all survive." After the meal, the High Matriarch took the humans to another part of the building. Here they found young Zephyrians who seemed much sadder than the ones in the dining hall. Some were lying on beds, staring at the ceiling. Others sat in corners, not moving at all. "These are the ones who have been here the longest," the High Matriarch explained. "They have given up hope." Alex knelt down next to a young Zephyrian who was lying very still. "Hello, what's your name?" The young creature looked at Alex with dull eyes. "I am Martek. Are you here to take me away?" "No," Alex said gently. "We're here to stay with you, to take care of you." Martek sat up slowly. "Stay with me? But everyone always leaves." "We won't leave," Alex promised. "We're going to be here every day until you're ready to go home to your family." For the first time in months, Martek smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. Over the next few hours, the humans walked through the entire sanctuary. They met every young Zephyrian and learned their names. They listened to their stories and fears. Most importantly, they showed the young creatures that someone cared about them. By the end of the day, the change in the sanctuary was obvious. The young Zephyrians were more active. They were talking more. Some were even playing games with each other for the first time in months. The High Matriarch watched all of this with amazement. "In one day you have done more for our young than we have been able to do in centuries." We've just given them what every child needs, Lisa said. Someone to care about them. Jake looked around at all the young faces watching them hopefully. But this is just the beginning. We need to set up a real program to take care of them properly. What do you need? The High Matriarch asked. More humans, Jake said. And time to learn how to take care of Zephyrian children properly. Ben was still amazed by how well the day had gone. I have to admit I was wrong to worry. These kids aren't dangerous. They're just scared and lonely. The High Matriarch nodded. Our young are not the problem. 3 months had passed since the humans began working at the sanctuary. Every day Jake and his team came to spend time with the young Zephyrians. The change in the building was amazing. What had once been a sad, quiet place was now full of laughter and activity. The humans had set up schedules for different activities. In the mornings, Lisa taught language classes where young Zephyrians learned more human words, and humans learned Zephyrian phrases. Alex ran science lessons where he taught the young aliens about different planets and species. Katie showed them how human technology worked. Ben organized games and sports that helped them stay strong and healthy. But the most important thing the humans did was simply be there for the young Zephyrians when they needed someone to talk to. Jake was walking through the hallway when he heard crying coming from one of the rooms. He knocked gently on the door and went inside. Kethra was sitting on her bed, silver tears running down her metallic cheeks. What's wrong, Kethra? Jake asked, sitting down in a chair next to her bed. I had the nightmare again, she said quietly. The one where my family forgets about me and never comes to take me home. Jake had heard about these nightmares from other young Zephyrians. Many of them worried that their families would abandon them forever. That won't happen, Jake said gently. Your family loves you very much. They're waiting for you to finish the awakening so you can come home safely. But what if I'm different when I go home? Kethra asked. What if they don't recognize me anymore? Jake thought about this. You are changing, you're growing up, but the important parts of who you are, your kindness, your curiosity, your sense of humor, those parts will always be the same. Kethra looked at Jake with her large yellow eyes. Do you really think so? I know so, Jake said. I've seen you every day for 3 months. You're still the same Kethra who worries about her friends and helps the younger ones with their lessons. Growing up doesn't change who you are inside. Kethra wiped her eyes. Jake, can I ask you something? Of course. Why do you humans care so much about us? We're not even the same species. Jake smiled. Because caring about others is what makes life meaningful. It doesn't matter if you're human or Zephyrian or any other species. When someone needs help, good people try to help. Even if it's dangerous. Even if it's dangerous, Jake confirmed. Though you know what? You're not dangerous to us. You're just kids who need someone to care about them. In another part of the sanctuary, Lisa was having a similar conversation with Martek, who had been one of the saddest young Zephyrians when they first arrived. Now he was much happier, but sometimes he still had difficult days. Lisa, Martek said, I want to tell you something important. What is it? Lisa asked. Before you came here, I wanted to die. I thought death would be better than being alone forever. Lisa felt her heart hurt for him. Oh, Martek. I'm so sorry you felt that way. But now I don't feel that way anymore. Martek continued. Now I want to live. I want to grow up and have a family of my own someday. And when I do, I want to make sure my children never have to be as lonely as I was. That's a wonderful goal, Lisa said. And you know what? I think you're going to be an amazing parent someday. Martek smiled. Will you teach me how to be good with children like you are? I'd be honored to, Lisa said. Meanwhile, in the workshop area that Katie had set up, several young Zephyrians were working on building projects. Rayshaw was particularly good with technology and had become Katie's best student. Look what I built, Rayshaw said excitedly, showing Katie a small device that looked like a combination of human and Zephyrian technology. What does it do? Katie asked. It's a communication device that can translate between any 2 languages instantly. I thought it might help when different species try to talk to each other. Katie was amazed. Rayshaw, this is incredible. You've combined our translation technology with your people's quantum processors. This could change how the whole galaxy communicates. Rayshaw looked proud but also worried. Do you think my parents will be proud of what I've learned? Are you kidding? Katie said. They're going to be amazed. You've learned more in 3 months than most engineers learn in years. In the exercise area, Ben was training with some of the older young Zephyrians. Even though they were still juveniles, they were incredibly strong and fast. Ben had learned to design exercises that challenged them without being too dangerous. Good work, Teklar, Ben said as the young Zephyrian finished a difficult obstacle. Horse, you're getting faster every day. Thank you, Ben, Teklar said. I feel stronger than I did when I first came here. That's because you're eating better and sleeping better, Ben explained. When you're not stressed and lonely, your body can grow properly. A younger Zephyrian named Corvin came up to them. Ben, can you teach me that fighting move you showed? Teklar yesterday? Of course, Ben said. But remember, we only use these moves to protect ourselves and others, never to hurt anyone unnecessarily. I understand, Corvin said. I want to be strong so I can protect other people like you protect us. Ben smiled. That's exactly the right attitude. As the months went by, news of the successful human guardianship program spread throughout the Zephyrian Empire. Other Zephyrian worlds began asking for human guardians for their own young. The High Matriarch had to coordinate with human leaders to send more volunteers to different planets. But not all Zephyrians were happy about these changes. War Commander Threshek was one of the most powerful military leaders in the Zephyrian Empire. He had conquered 12 planets and commanded millions of soldiers. He did not like the idea of his people depending on humans for anything. This is making us weak, he told his supporters in a secret meeting. Zephyrians should not need help from inferior species. But the program is working, one of his officers said. More of our young are surviving than ever before. At what cost? Threshek demanded. Our young are learning human ways. They're becoming soft. They're forgetting how to be proper Zephyrians. What do you suggest we do? Another officer asked. Threshek's eyes glowed with anger. We prove that we don't need humans. We show everyone that Zephyrians are strong enough to take care of our own young without outside help. The next day, Threshek arrived at the sanctuary with a group of his soldiers. The humans were surprised to see them, as adult Zephyrians usually stayed far away from the building. I am War Commander Threshek, he announced to Jake and his team. I am here to inspect this facility. Of course, Jake said politely. We're happy to show you around. But as they walked through the building, Threshek became more and more agitated. He could see young Zephyrians laughing and playing with humans. He could hear them speaking human languages. He could see them learning human customs. This is wrong, he said angrily. Our young should be learning to be warriors, not playing games with soft aliens. They are learning to be warriors, Ben said calmly. But they're also learning to be caring individuals who can work with others. Caring is weakness, Threshek snarled. Zephyrians are predators. We take what we want. We don't ask for help, Alex tried to explain. But this program is saving lives. Before we came, many young Zephyrians died during the awakening. Now almost all of them survive. Better to die strong than live weak, Threshek said. As they continued the tour, Threshek saw Kethra helping a younger Zephyrian with a difficult lesson. She was being patient and kind, showing the smaller alien how to solve a problem step by step. You, Threshek said to Kethra. Come here. Kethra looked nervous but obeyed. As she got closer to Threshek, something strange began to happen. The war commander's eyes started to change. His pupils grew larger, his claws began to extend. His breathing became faster and deeper. Jake realized what was happening. Kethra was still in the middle of her awakening. She was producing the chemical, signals that triggered hunting instincts in adult Zephyrians. Threshek, Jake said urgently, you need to step back. You're having a reaction to her pheromones. But Threshek was already too far gone. His predatory instincts had taken over completely. He looked at Kethra, not as a child to protect, but as prey to hunt. I can control myself, he growled, but his body was saying something different. His muscles were tensing for an attack. Kethra sensed the danger and backed away, but Threshek followed her. His soldiers tried to help him, but they were also starting to react to the chemical signals. "Everyone stay calm," Jake said, but he was preparing to put himself between Threshek and Kethra if necessary. Lisa quickly activated the alarm system that would alert other humans in the building. Ben moved to a position where he could protect the young Zephyrians if the adults lost control completely. But then something unexpected happened. The other young Zephyrians in the room began to move. Instead of running away in fear, they moved closer to their human guardians. And instead of cowering, they positioned themselves to protect the humans who had been protecting them. Zektar stepped forward, placing himself between Threshek and Jake. "You will not hurt our guardians," he said firmly. Rayshaw and Martek flanked him, their own claws extending but not in aggression, in defense. "These humans are our family now," Teklar added. "If you want to hurt them, you'll have to go through us first." Threshek looked around the room and saw something that shocked him back to his senses. The news of what happened with War Commander Threshek spread across the entire Zephyrian Empire within days. For the first time in their history, young Zephyrians had shown they could control their instincts and protect others instead of just themselves. The story was told and retold on every Zephyrian world. High Matriarch Veltar called an emergency meeting of the Zephyrian High Council. Leaders from dozens of worlds gathered in the Great Crystal Hall to discuss what this meant for their species. The Human Guardianship Program has succeeded beyond our wildest hopes, the High Matriarch announced to the assembled leaders. Not only are our young surviving the awakening, but they are becoming better than we ever imagined possible. War Commander Threshek stood up to address the council. After his experience at the Sanctuary, he had become one of the strongest supporters of the human program. "I came to the Sanctuary believing that humans were making our young weak," he said. "I was wrong. The humans have made our young stronger than any adult Zephyrian has ever been. They have learned to use their minds to control their instincts. They have learned to choose love over fear." Another council member, Fleet Admiral Corthex, raised a concern. "But what happens when these young ones become adults? Will they still be true Zephyrians?" Jake had been invited to speak at the council meeting. He stood up and addressed the Zephyrian leaders. "Your young are still Zephyrians," he said. "They're just better Zephyrians. They have all the strength and intelligence of your species, but they also have something new. They have learned that true strength comes from protecting others, not just from being able to fight." The High Matriarch nodded. "Captain Morrison speaks the truth. Our young have shown us what Zephyrians can become when they are raised with love instead of isolation." Over the following months, the changes in Zephyrian society became more obvious. The first group of young Zephyrians who had been cared for by humans completed their awakening and were ready to return to their families. Kethra was among the first to go home. On her last day at the Sanctuary, she spent time with each of her human guardians. "I will never forget what you taught me," she told Jake. "You showed me that being strong means protecting those who need help." "You already knew that," Jake said. "We just helped you remember it." Kethra hugged him, being careful not to hurt him with her claws. "When I have children of my own someday, I want human guardians to help me raise them too." Lisa smiled. "We would be honored to help." When Kethra's parents came to pick her up, they were amazed by the change in their daughter. She was taller and stronger than when she had left, but more importantly, she was confident and happy. "My daughter," her mother said with tears in her eyes, "you have grown so much." "The humans taught me many things," Kethra said. "But the most important thing they taught me was that love is stronger than fear." Her father, a powerful warrior named Velmon, looked at the humans with respect. "You have given us back our daughter, but she is even better than we hoped she could be." Similar scenes happened all across the Zephyrian Empire as young ones returned to their families. Parents who had expected to get back the same children they had sent away were instead reunited with young adults who were wiser, kinder, and stronger than any previous generation. The success of the program led to massive changes in Zephyrian society. The High Matriarch made an announcement that shocked the entire galaxy. From this day forward, she declared, humans will be granted full citizenship in the Zephyrian Empire. They will be invited to establish colonies on our worlds and to share in all the benefits of our technology and knowledge. But the changes didn't stop there. News of the human guardianship program had spread to other species throughout the galaxy. Many were amazed that humans had succeeded where no other species had even tried. 3 months after Kethra returned home, Captain Morrison received another message on his ship. This time, it was from the Crystalline Collective, a species of energy beings who lived in a different dimension. Captain Morrison, the message said, we have heard of your success with the Zephyrians. We have a similar problem with our young, and we believe humans might be the only species who can help us. Alex read the message with fascination. The Crystallines are having trouble with their young too? It seems so, Jake said. Their young ones sometimes get lost between dimensions during their development. They need guardians who can anchor them to physical reality. Lisa was excited by the possibility. This could be the beginning of something incredible. Humans might become the galaxy's specialists in caring for young creatures of all species. Over the next year, more and more species contacted humans asking for help with their young. The Vapor Folk needed guardians who could interact with their gaseous offspring. The Rock People needed caretakers who could communicate with their young while they were still in crystal form. The Ocean Mines needed helpers who could work underwater with their developing juveniles. In every case, humans proved to be uniquely suited for the task. Their natural instinct to protect and nurture young creatures, combined with their ability to adapt to different environments and situations, made them invaluable to species across the galaxy. Back on the Zephyrian homeworld, the first human Zephyrian school opened. Young humans and young Zephyrians learned together, sharing their different perspectives and abilities. The friendships formed in these schools would change both species forever. Rayshaw, now a young adult, had become the head engineer for a project that combined human and Zephyrian technology. She was working with Katie to design ships that could travel faster than anything previously imagined. Look at this, Rayshaw said excitedly, showing Katie a new engine design. By combining human creativity with Zephyrian power sources, we can create vessels that can cross the galaxy in days instead of months. Katie studied the plans. This is incredible, Rayshaw. This could revolutionize space travel for everyone. That's the idea, Rayshaw said. Humans taught us that the best solutions come from working together. Now we want to share that lesson with the whole galaxy. Martek had become a diplomat, using the communication skills he learned from Lisa to help different species understand each other. He traveled to many worlds, helping to solve conflicts and build friendships between different types of creatures. Zektar had followed Ben's example and become a protector, but instead of just protecting Zephyrians, he worked to keep all species safe. He led a mixed team of humans and Zephyrians who responded to emergencies throughout the galaxy. The changes weren't just happening to individuals. Entire civilizations were being transformed by the relationships between humans and other species. 5 years after the first humans arrived at the sanctuary, Jake stood in the same crystal hall where he had first met the High Matriarch. But now, the hall was filled with representatives from dozens of species, all working together on projects that would benefit the entire galaxy. Captain Morrison, the High Matriarch, said, "Do you remember when we first asked for your help? We thought we were just asking you to save our children." "I remember," Jake said. "You were desperate and didn't know where else to turn." "We never imagined that saving our children would lead to this," she said, gesturing to the diverse crowd around them. "Humans have become the galaxy's peacekeepers, not through conquest, but through compassion." Lisa joined them. "It's amazing how much has changed. Humans are now living on hundreds of worlds, helping raise the young of dozens of species." Alex, who had been studying all the different alien biology, added his thoughts. "Each species we've helped has taught us something new about life and growth. We're all becoming better because of these relationships." Ben, now leading a galaxy-wide security force of mixed species, smiled. Who would have thought that our greatest strength would be our ability to care for others? Katie looked out the window at ships of many different designs flying together through the sky. The technology sharing alone has advanced every civilization by centuries. But the friendships we've built are worth even more. Jake nodded. We came here thinking we were just going to help one species with one problem. Instead, we discovered humanity's true place in the galaxy. The High Matriarch smiled. And what place is that? We're the ones who bring everyone together, Jake said. We're the ones who show that different species can be family to each other. As Jake spoke, a group of children ran through the hall. They were human children, Zephyrian children, crystalline children, and young ones from several other species, all playing together as if they were siblings. Kethra, now a teacher herself, was watching over them. She caught Jake's eye and waved. She was working with human teachers to develop new ways of education that worked for all species. Look at them, the High Matriarch said, watching the children play. They don't see different species. They just see friends. That's the future, Jake said, a galaxy where all species are family. Just then, another message arrived. This time it was from a distant part of the galaxy where 3 different species were fighting over resources. They had heard about the human peacekeepers and wanted help in finding a solution that would work for everyone. Jake smiled as he read the message. It looks like we have another family to help. Lisa laughed. I guess our work is never done. Would we want it any other way? Alex asked.